Om Jnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurumritam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namah. Shri Chaitanya Manobhistam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Tadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Utapadakamam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahakana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvetam Savadutam Parijan Saitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Deenabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namastute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Shabanu Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vanchakalpatarubhascha Kipa Sindhu Vacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namah Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, thank you all for coming. So today, Madan Prabhu will first present Yoga Ladder, and then Nitya chapter 7, and then Divya chapter 8. Without waste of time, Madan Prabhu, you are ready to go?
Hare Krishna, yes, can I share my screen?
Yeah, I'll give you permission right now. You should be able to now share your screen. Madan Prabhu, you're able to share? Yeah, we can now see.
Hare Krishna, I'm seeking blessing from Guru Maharaj, His Grace Vaisi Sadhiyari, my god brother Rama Vilas Das, our dear Srila Prabhupada, Sri Radha Krishna, to be able to speak on this topic. Today I will go over the Yoga ladder that we have learned in our detailed Yoga ladder class, and I will repeat some of the things that I have learned. Basically, I will be speaking different yoga, different stages of yoga, and I will describe about them. At the very bottom, we started the animal life. What is animal life? Is unregulated sense gratification. There's no concept of religiousness. I will get what I want by all means. Basically, it is driven by 4 instincts: eating, sleeping, mating, and self-defense, which humans share with animals. Humans can practice, Brahma Jignasa, inquiry about the absolute, where animals cannot. So basically, animal life is there's no scriptures, there's nothing. So there's no form of code or anything. So from here, we can move to the next stage by adding scriptures, which is karma khanda. What is karma khanda? Is regulated sense gratification, performing rituals for heaven. So the portion of the Veda, dealing with the ritualistic action, specifically the performance of sacrifice, ceremonies, and prescribed duties aimed at attaining material results or spiritual realization. Bhagavad Gita reference verses 2.42 to 43. So basically, what I have come to understand is that simply living for material comforts and rituals aimed at enjoyment what is described as karma kanda is not the true purpose of human life. That lifestyle, although seemingly refined, is not fundamentally different from animal life, which also revolves around eating, sleeping, mating, and defending. The human form is especially equipped for self-realization, for rising above the material conditioning and reconnecting with our eternal relationship with the Supreme Lord. So I feel it is important that we recognize this higher purpose and not waste this rare opportunity in pursuing only temporary sense-driven goals. Okay, from here we can go to the next stage, which is the Sagama Karma. By adding, basically is action motivated by desire. It's basically similar to Karma Kanda. Sagama Karma is selfish, attached to fruits of work and the work. Action with the desire for results. Bhagavad Gita's reference is 2.47. In Sagama Karma, we revert to action performed with the desire for personal gain, whether material reward, status, recognition, or heavenly result. It is the fruit-oriented action, contrast to selfless service. So in Sagama Karma is abominable. Like it is where the demigod level, demigod worship is done. Which is the results are temporary and insignificant. So from here we can go to the next stage, which is Niskarma Harma Yoga. Which in here detachment gets added. It's selfless and it is still attached to work. So detached duty with expecting results. Bhagavad Gita verse references 3.9. In Niskam Karma, we revert to performing prescribed action without any attachment to the result, offering the fruits to Krishna, or embracing them as duty, not for personal gain. It is the card of Karma Yoga. So here I have some verse references. According to verse reference 2.47, you have the right to perform your prescribed duty, but you are not entitled to the fruits of action, and don't be attached. The foundational instruction encourages action without desire for outcome, which is the essence of Niskam Karma. And another verse is 2.48. Fixed in yoga, do your work with an even mind in success and failure. For evenness of mind is called yoga. Performing action with equanimity, regardless of result, define the practice of Niskam Karma. Another verse would be 5.11. Yogis perform action towards self-purification. Who has abandoned the fruit of action attains steady peace. And from here we can progress to the next level, which is Jnana Yoga. In Jnana Yoga, knowledge gets added. Okay, what is Jnana Yoga? Renounce fruits, do austerity, plus some speculative knowledge. Basically, it's the analytical inquiry into self and Brahman. On its own, it is incomplete and may even lead to impersonal Brahman realization. Jnana Yoga is a philosophical analysis distinguishing Brahman from non-Brahman. Basically, it is also incomplete. It is just a preparatory stage leading to meditation and devotion. Okay, from here we can progress to the next stage, which is Ashtanga Yoga. What is Ashtanga Yoga? It is renounced fruit, sense and mind control, knowledge, meditation on Paramatma. As Ashtanga Yoga is based on 8 components, where Yama, Niyama, Asana, Pranayama, Pratyahara, Dharana, Dhyana, and Samadhi. And the elements form a progressive system aimed at purifying the mind and enabling direct realization of the Supreme. Okay, from here, what we get from basically from Jnana Yoga, we can attain to Brahman realization. The maximum that we can get is our Brahman realization. From Ashtanga Yoga, we can go to progress to we can attain Paramatma realization. The highest realization would be. And from Ashtanga Yoga, one can also progress to Brahman realization. From Brahman realization, one can progress to Paramatma realization, and Paramatma realization, one can go back to Brahman realization also. So it is basically the Supreme can be understood in three different stages, which is Brahman, Paramatma, Bhagavan. So that is here, right? Three different end results. So Supreme can be understood. Bhagavan is the complete realization, and includes other two within him, just as the sun includes the light and heat. So from here, one can progress to Bhagavan realization by adding love and devotion, which is Bhakti Yoga. Direct verse realization, reference is 3.30. One can also progress to Bhakti Yoga, which is the express elevator from Niskam Karma Yoga to Bhakti Yoga by adding love and devotion, and also offering everything, all the actions to the Supreme Lord. And also from here, once it is there, it is the direct elevator and direct path, and there are various other paths. Our goal is to attain the highest supreme realization. So we can have like different path here. Basically path number 0, path number 1 would be path number 1 would be path number 1 would be like animal life to karma khanda, which is the verse reference is 8.5 and 8.6, which is the whatever stage, the state of remembrance, whatever we can remember at the time of death. That is a maximum realization we can get from path number 1. Path number 2 is animal life, karma khanda, and karma yoga, which this is a maximum like realization is Brahman effulgence. From here, then path 3 would be another path would be like animal life, karma khanda, karma yoga, and jnana yoga, Brahman effulgence. And so from here then we can go to path 4, animal life, karma khanda, karma yoga, jnana yoga, ashtanga yoga, which is Paramatma realization. Then another path would be path 5, animal life, karma khanda, karma yoga, ashtanga yoga, where we skip jnana yoga, and which is also leads to Paramatma realization. And path number 6 would be animal life, karma khanda, karma yoga, skip jnana yoga, skip ashtanga yoga, which is the express elevator Bhagavan realization. Path number 7 would be animal life, karma khanda, karma yoga, jnana yoga, skipping ashtanga yoga, which results in Brahman realization. Path number 8 would be animal life, karma khanda, karma yoga, skip jnana yoga, and then ashtanga yoga, and which is Paramatma realization. Path number 9, animal life, karma khanda, karma yoga, jnana yoga, ashtanga yoga, which is includes everything, which is Bhagavan realization. So there's one more path which we can get, which is the last one, path number 10. That is from karma khanda to we can directly go to bhakti yoga. That is a very difficult path. That is very difficult, and it is the direct verse references is 9.20 to 28, and also that is basically the 10 different paths that we have covered in the class. That's about it for my presentation today.
All right. Any questions, comments, realizations for Matan Prabhu?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
Just want to confirm if 2.47 speaks of Sakam Karma Yoga.
Yeah. There's a fine line division between Sakam and Nishkam. So there's a progression. Yes, if you read 2.47, it specifically is Nishkam Karma Yoga. So Abhishek Prabhu's inquiry is correct that Matan Prabhu has 2.47 reference on Sakam. Yeah, specifically 2.47 is for Nishkam Karma Yoga, but there's a progression happening from Sakam to Nishkam. But 2.47 is Nishkam. Abhishek Prabhu?
Thank you, Puji.
Anybody else? All right. One more thing I'll clarify on Matan Prabhu's presentation. Matan Prabhu, if you scroll down on your slide where you have the different parts. Yeah. So where you have this part number 7,
Where we skip Ashtanga Yoga, like here everything is here that we can skip Ashtanga Yoga, we can go to Brahman realization and through the Paramatma realization.
yeah. So this moving between Brahman and Paramatma, yes, it is possible, but generally one will go either to Brahman or Paramatma. They would generally won't flip back and forth. But scroll down to where you have the various paths from 1 to 3 all. Oh, go down.
This one, 8.
Okay, no, you have it right. Okay, you have it right. All right. You can please stop sharing now, Prabhu.
Okay, thank you.
All right. Matan Prabhu already did a very good presentation. I will also quickly summarize Yoga Ladder. I can visualize that Matan Prabhu has taken detailed notes and understood Yoga Ladder perfectly. So I'll share my screen that there are various yoga paths one can follow. So you start path number 0 is animal life. It's 0 because it's animal life. Animal life is unregulated sense gratification, and destination is generally lower species and lower planets. Then one can move to path number 1, move to Karma Kanda. In Karma Kanda, scriptures get added. Karma Kanda means sense gratification is regulated plus follow dharma or follow scriptures. Then one can move to part 2 from animal life to Karma Kanda to Sakam to Nishkam Karma Yoga. In Karma Yoga paths, scriptures are already there. Now detachment gets added. And Karma Yoga means live in a way so no suffering. And one is more focused towards spirituality, specifically in Nishkam Karma Yoga level. The destination for path 1 and 2, for Karma Kanda path and Karma Yoga path. Karma Kanda and Karma Yoga destination without bhakti depends on the last thought, which mode one leaves the body, which is described in 8.5 and 8.6. And Karma Kanda, Karma Yoga destination with bhakti, where bhakti is less than 50%, maximum one can attain is Brahman effulgence. Then one can move from Karma Kanda to Sakam to Nishkam to Gyan Yoga. So scriptures and detachment were there from previous. Now knowledge gets added. Gyan Yoga, there is no activity. I do not want to act in the world so that I do not suffer. The maximum destination one can attain from Gyan Yoga is Brahman effulgence. Then one can progress to Ashtanga Yoga. There are 2 paths. Path number 4 is Karma Kanda to Sakam to Nishkam to Gyan Yoga to Ashtanga Yoga. Or path number 5, you skip Gyan Yoga, that Karma Kanda to Sakam to Nishkam and directly jump to Ashtanga Yoga. In Ashtanga Yoga level, the scriptures, detachment and knowledge were there from before. Now meditation gets added. Same as Gyan Yoga, I do not want to act in the world so that I do not suffer. The maximum destination one can attain from Ashtanga Yoga is Paramatma realization. Of course, if somebody wants to go Brahman, the lower they can, but generally they would go to Paramatma. Then comes various paths for Bhakti Yoga. Path number 6 is express elevator, that from Karma Kanda to Sakam to Nishkam Karma Yoga, you skip Gyan Yoga and Ashtanga Yoga and jump to Bhakti Yoga directly from Nishkam Karma Yoga. Or you can go, path number 7 is Karma Kanda to Sakam to Nishkam to Gyan Yoga, skip Ashtanga Yoga and jump to Bhakti Yoga from Gyan Yoga level. Or path number 8 is Karma Kanda to Sakam to Nishkam, you're skipping Gyan Yoga, jumping to Ashtanga Yoga and then to Bhakti Yoga. Or path number 9 is you're doing all steps, Karma Kanda to Sakam to Nishkam to Gyan Yoga to Ashtanga Yoga to Bhakti Yoga. Or you can do Karma Kanda and skip everything and jump directly to Bhakti Yoga. So that's path number 10. So Bhakti Yoga, you have various paths, path number 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. So what happens in Bhakti Yoga? You have scriptures, detachment, knowledge, and meditation from before. In Bhakti Yoga, now love and devotion gets added. Bhakti Yoga means focus is on Krishna. How best I can serve Krishna. If I can serve best by acting in the world, then I will act in the world. Or if I can serve best by renouncing the world, then I will renounce. Bhakti Yoga is a scientific process to transfer my desires from matter to serving Krishna. The destination for following Bhakti Yoga path is pure devotees, Kevala Bhakta, not in the mood of awe and reverence, generally will attain Goloka Vrindavan. And pure devotees, Kevala Bhakta, in the mood of awe and reverence, generally will attain Vaikuntha planets. So that's a quick overview of the various charts, and I will explain a couple of points for what Arjuna's confusion was. Now, one was we discussed express elevator versus staircase. So path number 6 is express elevator, and rest all the paths are known as staircase. Why? So it is Krishna's mercy that lifts the person up. Hence, the speed of lifting up is much faster, which is described in Bhagavad Gita 12.7, where Krishna says, I become the swift deliverer of the devotee. So when person is in an elevator, there is not much endeavor for the person to be inside the elevator. While on the stairs, the person has to keep climbing by himself. More importantly, the elevator goes to the highest floor in the building. So if you look at all these various paths, they look like stacked apartment buildings. So express elevator means the Bhakti Yoga path is the only path that takes you to the highest destination of Bhagavan realization. All other paths, they stop in between, means the staircase only goes up to that level. If you are going and following that particular level only. So for example, if you go back to the previous path, so if somebody is going to Ashtanga Yoga level, well, the staircase stop here. There is no way to go. If you have to go to Bhagavan realization, then elevator is your only option. Therefore, Krishna says that Bhagavan realization is highest and is the best, and therefore follow the express elevator path. So Bhagavan realization or Bhakti Yoga is like the elevator because it's easier and swifter. Bhakti Yoga alone can take us to the top floor of Bhagavan realization. Gyan Yoga takes one to Brahman realization. By adding Bhakti, one will attain Bhagavan realization. just as I showed on the various paths, that for example, if you have path number 7, you add bhakti, then yes, you can go. So the challenge with Gyan Yoga is that first stopping the activity is a challenge, and then restarting activity for Bhakti Yoga is also a bigger challenge. Bhakti Yoga means to do service, but in Gyan Yoga, you have stopped your activity. Therefore, it's a challenge both ways. So other processes are not only difficult, but simultaneously they don't even lead to the final destination of Bhagwan realization. Now, activity is natural. In Bhagavad Gita 3.5, Krishna says, no one can refrain from doing action. At Gyan Yoga and Ashtanga Yoga level, one gives up action, and when one reaches Bhakti Yoga, one has to resume action. So both ways is a problem. That first you stopping activity is not natural, and then even if you have stopped activity and you have to restart, is again another challenge to restart after you have stopped. It's very hard. In Karma Yoga, which is the express elevator path number 6, you are continuing to do activity. You are just elevating the intention to serve Krishna. Now, Arjuna's confusion on the yoga ladder was that if Gyan Yoga is higher than Karma Yoga on the yoga ladder, then why is Krishna asking Arjuna to do Karma Yoga? Means why is Krishna asking Arjuna to fight? So Gyan Yoga is definitely higher than Karma Yoga, because at Gyan Yoga, a person is no longer engaged in karmic bondage. The problem with Gyan Yoga is the sadhana is very difficult. Therefore, Krishna says in 12.5 Bhagavad Gita that progress to Gyan Yoga is very difficult. Gyan Yoga is higher than Karma Yoga on yoga ladder, but in practice, Gyan Yoga is not easy. In practice, Karma Yoga is easier because one is continuing the natural tendency of acting. Many think, including Arjuna, that action leads to bondage and renunciation leads to no sin. Bhagavad Gita disagrees with this. Krishna says action can lead to liberation when action is done with detachment, which is explained in Bhagavad Gita 3.9. Plus, renunciation, if done without purification, will lead to bondage, which is described in Bhagavad Gita 3.6, Mithyachar verse. If action, Karma Yoga, is done with devotional intention, then that person is higher than the one who has renounced the world. When Krishna says that Karma Yoga is higher than Gyan Yoga, Krishna is not referring to karma simply as action. Rather, Krishna is referring to karma with devotional intention, meaning action done with devotional intention is higher than renunciation of world without devotion. Normally, renounced person is considered more advanced than one engaged in the world. But one who is engaged in the world for the sake of Krishna's sake, then one engaged in the world is higher than the one who has renounced the world. From all the slides, the only slide that you should keep a snapshot of is what you have on the screen, that you either follow path number 6, which is the express elevator of Karma Kanda to Sakam to Nishkam and jump directly to Bhakti, or path number 10, that Karma Kanda to Bhakti Yoga, which is you are focusing on serving Krishna and your destination will be spiritual world, either Vaikuntha or Goloka Vrindavan, depending on your rasa and mood. That's a quick summary of yoga ladder. Questions, comments, realizations?
Yeah, Prabhuji, initially when you spoke of Karma Kand and Karma Yoga, uh, Karma Kand is it not only maximum to heavenly planets? Like you have clubbed those two descriptions.
You mean this slide, Karma Kanda and Karma Yoga?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Yeah, so it depends, right? So you don't have bhakti, or even if you have bhakti, it depends that it's less than 50% bhakti. So it depends on your last thought. It is possible to attain Brahman effulgence through Karma Yoga also. Therefore, Krishna says in chapter 5 that whatever destination you can attain by other paths, say you if by Gyan Yoga, the maximum one can attain is Brahman effulgence. So Krishna says by Karma Yoga you can also attain Brahman effulgence. But Karma Yoga has the added advantage that if you change your intention to serving Krishna, then it's natural that you are continuing to work and you change your intention to serving Krishna, then you attain the highest destination of Bhagwan realization. In Gyan Yoga, the challenge is you have stopped activity. So, yes, what I have on screen is correct. Depends on the last thought, and by Karma Yoga alone, this is not Bhakti Yoga, right? Karma Yoga here is normal karma. It depends on the last thought. And the maximum you can attain by both these levels is by Karma Kanda and Karma Yoga. Is the same as Gyan Yoga of Brahman effulgence, or you can attain heavenly planets. So I'm showing the maximum destination. Abhishek Prabhu.
Thank you, Prabhuji. And Prabhuji, in chapter 5, you mentioned that there are many symptoms which are described of a liberated person, like they say equanimity and then following verses. So that time, like Srila Prabhupada has specifically talked about devotees, but are those symptoms also for other realizations? Or
So
is
they
it
so chapter 5, those symptoms from verse number 19, probably verse number 20 onwards, those qualities are for pure devotees, or those qualities are for Siddha. So from 5.20 onwards, Krishna gives a process of how you can reach to Nishkam Karma Yoga if you are not at Nishkam Karma Yoga level. So he says these qualities from 5.20 onwards are the qualities or the characteristics which are possessed by a Siddha and which are goals for a devotee. So a question is slightly off, that whether it's referring to devotees. No, those qualities are possessed by a Siddha, by a pure devotee. Those are goals for sadhaka to follow so that they can reach to Nishkam Karma Yoga and advance. Abhishek Prabhu.
I was confused because of those who are Brahman realized people, they would not have such symptoms.
They will have some of those symptoms. So understand, Brahman realization means those who follow Gyan Yoga is pretty elevated stage. They are pretty renounced. It's just that their sadhana is very challenging. Gyan Yoga sadhana is very difficult to follow, specifically in Kali Yuga and when you are embodied, which is what Krishna explains in 12.5. So Gyan Yogis, they are very renounced, they are very elevated. They will have those qualities, not all, at least some of them. So if you follow the Gyan Yoga sadhana, which is described in 18.49 onwards, that you have to be follow celibacy, brahmacharya, and read scriptures. Those are all very elevated qualities. Abhishek Prabhu.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Nitya.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, just to confirm, so anyone who has initiated the process of bhakti, including at karma yoga level, they will be assured of reaching Brahman effulgence.
So it is your option. If you are on Bhakti Yoga path, this is described in Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 1, Chapter 7, that Srila Vyasadeva attained perfection following Bhakti Yoga. So while he was going to Bhagwan realization, means the highest destination of spiritual world, on the way he saw Brahman effulgence and he bypassed. He bypassed both Brahman and Paramatma realization levels, saying these are incomplete. I don't want it. So it's an option for you that while you are traveling on the way, you have that option. But generally, devotees will not stop at Brahman effulgence because there is no activity at Brahman effulgence. And devotee or bhakti yoga means to do service to Krishna. So you have it on screen. Bhakti yoga means how best I can serve Krishna. At Brahman effulgence, there is no activity. So why would a devotee go to Brahman effulgence even if that option is available?
Thank you, Prabhu.
All right. Matan Prabhu did very good job. He understood yoga ladder to perfection, and therefore he was able to create the slides that we saw. So now we'll discuss chapter 7 and 8. So let's read the verses at a faster pace so that we can complete. Otherwise, we'll not be able to complete today. So quick overview of chapter 7. Chapter 7 is titled Knowledge of the Absolute. In Sanskrit is Vigyan Yoga. Chapter 7 divided in 3 sections. Section 1 is verses 1 to 12. Know Krishna in full. And then there are 3 subsections within section 1. Verses 1 to 3 is glory of the knowledge about Krishna. Verses 4 to 7 is Krishna is the source of everything, material and spiritual. Verses 8 to 12 is Krishna pervades everything. Section 2 is verses 13 to 25. Surrender to Krishna, that how knowledge of Krishna that is explained in section 1, how that knowledge leads to surrender. Section 2 has 4 subsections. Verses 13 and 14 is why surrender to Krishna. Verse 15 is those who do not surrender. Verses 16 to 19 is those who do surrender to Krishna. And verses 20 to 25 is those who surrender to something other than Krishna, means those who surrender to demigods. And section 3 is verses 26 to 30, how the soul gets liberated by knowledge about Krishna. Abhishek Prabhu, chapter 7, verses 1 to 12 is section 1, know Krishna in full.
Sorry, Prabhuji, can you kindly repeat?
Chapter 7, verses 1 to 12, verses translation.
Chapter 7, 1 to 12. Okay. Knowledge of the Absolute. Text 1. The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, now hear, O son of Pritha, how by practicing yoga in full consciousness of me, with mind attached to me, you can know me in full, free from doubt. Text 2. I shall now declare unto you in full this knowledge, both phenomenal and numinous. This being known, nothing further shall remain for you to know. Text 3. Out of many thousands among men, one may endeavor for perfection, and those who have achieved perfection, hardly one knows me in truth. Text 4. Earth, water, fire, air, ether, mind, intelligence, and false ego. Altogether, these 8 constitute my separated material energies. 5. Besides these, O mighty armed Arjuna, there is another superior energy of mine, which comprises the living entities who are exploiting the resources of this material inferior nature. Text 6. All created beings have their source in these 2 natures. Of all that is material and all that is spiritual in this world, know for certain that I am both the origin and the dissolution. Text 7. O conqueror of wealth, there is no truth superior to me. Everything rests upon me as pearls are strung on a thread. Text 8. O son of Kunti, I am the taste of water, the light of the sun, and the moon, and the syllable Om in the Vedic mantras. I am the sound in ether and ability in men. Text 9. I am the original fragrance of the earth, and I am the heat and fire. I am the life of all that lives, and I am the penances of the ascetics. Text 10. O son of Pritha, know that I am the original seed of all existences, the intelligence of the intelligent, and the prowess of all powerful men. 11. I am strength of the strong, devoid of passion and desire. I am sex life which is not contrary to religious principles. O Lord of the Bharatas, Arjuna. Text 12. Know that all states of being, be they be of goodness, passion, or ignorance, are manifested by my energy. I am in one sense everything, but I am independent. I am not under the modes of material nature, for they, on the contrary, are within me.
Janisha will read the next set of verses, which is section 2, verses 13 to 25. Surrender to Krishna, that how knowledge of Krishna leads to surrender. Janisha, 13 to 25 translations.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Text 13. Deluded by the three modes, goodness, passion, and ignorance, the whole world does not know me, and who am I above the modes and inexhaustible. Text 14. This divine energy of mind, consisting of the three modes of material nature, is difficult to overcome, but those who have surrendered unto me can easily cross beyond it. Text 15. Those miscreants who are grossly foolish, who are lowest among mankind, whose knowledge is stolen by illusion, and who partake of the atheistic nature of demons, do not surrender unto me. Text 16 is, O best among the Bharatas, four kinds of pious men begin to render devotional service unto me: the distressed, the desirer of the wealth, the inquisitive, and he who is searching for the knowledge of the Absolute. Text 17. Of these, the one who is in full knowledge and who is always engaged in pure devotional service is the best, for I am very dear to him and he is dear to me. Text 18. All these devotees are undoubtedly magnanimous souls, but he who is situated in knowledge of me, I consider to be just like my own self. Being engaged in my transcendental service, he is sure to attain me, the highest and the most perfect goal. Text 19. After many births and deaths, he who is actually in knowledge surrenders unto me, knowing me to be the cause of all the causes and all that is. Such a great soul is very rare. Text 20. Those whose intelligence has been stolen by the material desires surrender unto demigods and follow the particular rules and regulation of worship according to their own natures. Text 21. I am in everyone's heart as the super soul. As soon as one desires to worship some demigod, I make his faith steady so that he can devote himself to that particular deity. Text 22. Endowed with such a faith, he endeavors to worship a particular demigod and obtains his desires, but in actuality, these benefits are bestowed by me alone. Text 23. Men of small intelligence worship the demigods, and their fruits are limited and temporary. Those who worship the demigods go to the planets of the demigods, but my devotees ultimately reach my supreme planet. Text 24. Unintelligent men who do not know me perfectly think that I, the Supreme Personality of Godhead Krishna, was impersonal before and have now assumed this personality. Due to their small knowledge, they do not know my higher nature, which is imperishable and supreme. And lastly, text 25. I am never manifest to the foolish and unintelligent. For them, I am covered by my internal potency, and therefore they do not know what I am unborn and infallible. Hare Krishna.
Section 3, Archana or our dear Devaraj can read, verses 26 to 30. Title is How the Soul Gets Liberated by Knowledge About Krishna. Archana.
Hare Krishna Prabhu. Verse 26, O Arjuna, as a supreme personality for Godhead, I know everything that has happened in the past, all that is happened in the present, and all things that are yet to come. I also know all living entity, but me no one knows. Verse 27, O Scion of Bharata, O conqueror of foe, all living entity are born into religion, bewildered by duality, arise from desire and hate. Verse 28, person who have acted piously in a previous life and in this life, and whose sinful actions are completely eradicated, are free from the dualities of delusion, and they engage themselves in my service with determination. Verse 29, intelligent person who are endeavoring for liberation from old age and they take refuge in me in a devotional service. They're actually Brahman because they entirely know everything about transcendental activity. Verse 30, those in a full consciousness of me, who know me, the Supreme Lord, to be the governing principle of the material manifestation of the demigod, and of all method of sacrifice, can understand and know me, the Supreme Personality for Godhead, even at the time of death. Thus end the Bhaktivedanta purport to the 7th chapter of the Srimad Bhagavad Gita in the matter of knowledge of the Absolute. Hari Bol.
Very good. Thank you. Nitya.
Hare Krishna, everyone. Seeking permission and blessings from all assembled devotees, Srila Prabhupada, Guru Parampara, Sri Sri Radha Krishna to present Bhagavad Gita today. Please forgive me for any shortcomings. Chapter 7, The Knowledge of the Absolute, titled in Sanskrit as Vijnana Yoga. Chapters 7 to 12, the focus is on bhakti, and the spotlight shifts to Mahan, Lord Krishna. Focus in the first 6 chapters was on renunciation and action. But now Lord Krishna moves the focus to devotion in action. In the first 6 chapters, different parts of yoga are described for elevation of the spirit soul. In verse 6.47, Bhakti Yoga in Krishna consciousness is the highest form of all yoga. The mood now shifts from detachment from the material world to attachment to Lord Krishna by the Bhakti Yoga process. Verse 1 is a very important verse and is a base-setting verse in Krishna consciousness. Sri Bhagavan Uvasa Maya Sakta Manaparta Yogam Unjam Mat Asaya Asam Sayam Samarkam Yatala Asit Tachunu. Tachunu. This begins with hearing, which is one of the 9 limbs of devotional service. Lord Krishna says to Arjuna, hear from me. No one can be a greater authority than Lord Krishna, and therefore hearing from him, one receives the opportunity to become a perfectly Krishna-conscious person. One has to learn about the Lord from him directly or from a pure devotee of Lord Krishna. The authority and the perfection of the source of knowledge will guide even our imperfect senses to the absolute truth. As the devotee hears from the Lord directly or hears about him, the Lord who is in everyone's heart purifies the devotee. As he hears more about Lord Krishna, his doubts are vanquished. One becomes fixed in devotional service. Freed from the modes of material nature, desires and anattas are diminished. One becomes steady in its position of pure goodness. He becomes enlivened by devotional service and understands the signs of God perfectly. Bhakti Yoga severs the hard knot of material affection. Complete knowledge includes the knowledge of the phenomenal world, the spirit behind it, and the source of both. This complete transcendental knowledge can only be achieved by the devotee in disciplic succession directly from the Lord. Bhagavad Gita is the principle, 100% complete, and Srimad Bhagavatam is the details, infinite. This knowledge is rare as people are caught up in material activities and very few endeavor for perfection. Lord Krishna is the source of all energy, both spiritual and material. He pervades the whole world, the basis of existence as pearls strung on a thread. Lord Krishna says, I am the source, I am the taste of water, I am the light of the sun and the moon, I am the syllable Om, I am the ability in man, the original fragrance of the earth, the heat in fire, the original seed of all existences, the intelligence of the intelligence, and the prowess of the powerful man. See Lord Krishna around you in all his energy and feel his presence around you 24 hours of the day. All material activities in this world are conducted by three modes of material nature that emanate from him and are under his control. He is not under the control of the mode. Why surrender to Lord Krishna? We are covered by Maya, and surrender to Lord Krishna will help us overcome Maya. Darkness surrounds us like the cloud covers the sun, our vision is covered. Krishna consciousness will help lift this veil of darkness and help us see the light. The size of the material energy overwhelms the tiny soul, and we are entangled in it. Lord Krishna will let you enter his spiritual world by decreasing the material energy to the hoof of a casket. Harmonizing our will with Lord Krishna's will. Accept what is uncool and favorable for bhakti, and reject that is not favorable, praticool for bhakti. Through our sadhana and seva, surrender to him. There are 4 classes of men who do not surrender to him. The foolish worker, Muda, the lowest with no spirituality, the Naradama, those whose knowledge is nullified by the illusory material energy, Maya, Aparhata, Jnana, and the demoniac with the deep envy of God, Asuram, Bhavam, Asita. Then there are 4 classes of fortunate men who start by rendering small service, bhajanti, to surrender to Lord Krishna. The distressed, the desire of wealth, one who is inquisitive and the seeker of the absolute truth. All 4 classes of men are called magnanimous by the Lord. But the person in full knowledge of the absolute truth and who's always engaged in unalloyed devotional service is the Ekava. From service to surrender can take several lifetimes based on the intensity of service. Then there are those who surrender to demigods and those who surrender to something else. Demigods are administrators of the material world appointed by Lord Krishna. Demigod worship has to be sanctioned by Lord Krishna. By worship of Lord Krishna, all demigods are satisfied. Like when the roots of a tree are watered, the leaves and branches are watered. The results of demigod worship are temporary and insignificant, and at best one can reach heavenly planets, but still not liberated from the cycle of birth and death. The correct way to do demigod worship is to glorify demigods as the devotees of the Lord. Demigod worship is like walking up a staircase, and Bhakti Yoga in Krishna consciousness is like an elevator. And then there are the Brahmavadis, who do not have any devotee association. They are not fortunate enough. They worship the Brahman effulgence. The Sunyavadis believe in the void or empty consciousness concept. They give up all desires to be free from suffering. This is not a Vedic concept. The Advaitavad or Nirvisheshavad, they believe in the concept of non-dualism. This is a misunderstanding of the Vedic scriptures. They believe the absolute truth has no personal attributes, emotions, or passions. The Mayavadis, they believe the absolute truth is impersonal and the highest is Brahman essence. They consider Bhagavan, Lord Krishna, has taken shelter in a material form. This is incorrect and offensive. Lord Krishna reveals himself only when he desires. He sees my devotion to him and he will reveal himself only with pure devotional service. Yes, Maya makes us forget his supremacy. How is the soul elevated by knowledge of Lord Krishna? Lord Krishna knows what happened in the past, present, and all things yet to come. God's knowledge of the future is like our knowledge of the past. There is no intervention. Lord Krishna knows all the choices and consequences. Future is not a pre-existing category, but an emerging reality. Whatever inclination based on karma is going to happen, unless I change it. Our choices are limited. Free will is unlimited freedom within a limited framework which is based on past karma. The yoke of a rope will be short if in the past you lived in ignorance, and the length of the rope will be long if you have lived in the mode of goodness. Only Lord Krishna knows how the present and past activities affect karma. When these reactions will occur, no one knows. Our destiny is like a weather forecast that we cannot change. Destiny determines what happens, but does not determine what we do. Our reaction to what we face depends on us. Yes, destiny is like a roadmap where major events are preset, but with our minute free will, our choices will help shape it. Our body has a default setting unless we change it. So ask, what action will take me to Lord Krishna? To become a steady devotee, one needs to be free of sin and act piously. In goodness, there are anattas that less. Goodness is very important for bhakti to be sustained, rise beyond the goodness of your goodness. Thank you.
All right, very good. Any questions, comments, realizations for Nitya? All right. I will do a quick presentation of chapter 7 as well. I will share a screen, the slide on a screen. So the flow of first 6 chapters I will explain briefly. Chapter 7 is titled Knowledge of the Absolute, Vigyan Yoga. The flow of the first 6 chapters is that Arjuna's options were action in Karma Yoga or renunciation in Jnana Yoga. Krishna combined action and renunciation as the third choice. And not just renunciation in action, rather devotion in action means akarma. Arjuna's spotlight was on the body, therefore Arjuna was bound and miserable. Krishna moves the spotlight to soul. Soul can be liberated by doing Nishkam Karma Yoga. Krishna then moves the spotlight to Paramatma to get liberation. And Krishna goes on to say that, by the way, I, Krishna, I am that Paramatma. From Bhagavad Gita 6.47 onwards, spotlight is on Mam. Mam means referring to Krishna. So chapters 7 to 12 focus directly on bhakti and the spotlight shifts on Krishna. The first 6 chapters are setting the scene for bhakti. First 6 chapters, the focus was on renunciation in action. But from chapter 7 onwards, it is devotion in action. The first 6 chapters, the mood was of disconnection and detachment from material world. Now, from chapter 7, or rather from 6.47 onwards, the mood is connection and attachment to Krishna. So 6.47, the second line, Mat Katen Antaratmana, is fixing your mind on Krishna, that you can follow any of the various yoga paths such as Karma Kanda, Karma Yoga, Jnana Yoga, Ashtanga Yoga. And you can try to fix your mind on Krishna. And the same result of fixing mind on Krishna by alternative process of Bhakti Yoga is described from chapter 7 onwards. Verse number 7.1 is obviously a very important and a base setting verse. Shri Bhagavan Vacha Maya Sakta Mana Partha Yogam Yunjan Madashaya Asamsayam Samagram Mam Yata Jnanasi Tatshunu. Tatshunu is hearing. This is a direct call for hearing. You can attain perfection by hearing. And to understand how hearing leads to attachment to Krishna, can understand verse number 7 from bottom to up. So first, by hearing, step number 2 happens, that you will know Krishna properly and completely. Then step number 3 will be, you will become free from doubt. Then step number 4 will happen is you take shelter of Krishna. And step number 5 will happen is that you practice devotional service And then step number 6 will happen is the result that mind will become attached to Krishna. That's what Krishna says, Maya Sakta Mana Partha. So getting mind attached to Krishna is perfection of spiritual life. Krishna is the source of everything, material and spiritual. Krishna pervades everything. Examples of how to see Krishna all around us in the material world are through his energies. Examples being, I am the taste of water, Krishna says. Then, I am the light of sun and moon. I am the syllable Om. I am the ability in man. I am the fragrance of earth. I am the heat in fire. I am the life of all. I am the penance of austere. I am the original seed. I am the intelligence of the intelligent, and I am the power of the powerful. I am the strength of the strong, and I am sex, which is according to religious principles. This way, you can perceive Krishna's presence 24 hours. You drink water all the time. You see either the sun or the moon. You see abilities in men. These are some very simple examples to remember Krishna 24 hours. Now, Prakriti or material nature and the modes of material nature are under Krishna. The process to overcome Maya is given in 7.14 to surrender to Krishna, where he says, Maya metam tarantite. So 7.14 is Devi hai aisa gunamai. Mama maya duratya. Mam eva ye prapadyante mayam etam tarantite. So he says, Mam eva ye prapadyante means those who surrender to me, then the result is mayam etam tarantite, that you can cross the insurmountable material world as if you are crossing a calf's hoof print. The knowledge about Krishna, that everything comes from Krishna, leads to surrender to Krishna. There are 4 kinds of people who do not surrender to Krishna. First is Mudha, foolish like donkey. Mudha is caught up working hard for sense gratification that even the animals get. Second is Nara Adma. Adma means lowest and Nara means humans. Person who is lowest among human beings is Naradma. So Mudha has spiritual inclination, but they are busy in sense gratification. Hence, Mudha have no time for spiritual inclination. For Naradma, the spirituality is so put aside to the corner as if it is not present at all. Third category is Maya Aparita Jnana, that those who follow Vedas thinking that goal of Vedas is sense gratification. And then Asuram Bhava Mashita. They have deep envy towards God. And then there are 4 kinds of people who do render devotional service to Krishna, who start rendering devotional service. So for these 4 kinds of people who start rendering devotional service, Krishna does not use the word surrender. Rather, Krishna says bhajante, that they start rendering devotional service, and at some point they will come to surrender. So these 4 kinds of people who start rendering service are, first is Artho, means distress. Gajendra is the example. Second is Jigyasu, one who is inquisitive. Saunaka Rishi is the example that all these rishis at Naimisharanya, they were inquisitive. Third category is Artha Arthi, those who are wealth seeker. Dhruv Maharaj is the example. And fourth category is Jnani. The 4 Kumaras are the examples. So these 4 kinds of people are in goodness. They may not have surrendered, but they start worshipping Krishna. All these 4 categories of people are very dear to Krishna because they all came to Krishna instead of going somewhere else, say it going to demigods. Now some surrender to demigods. Demigods' benedictions, demigods' abodes, and demigod worshippers are all temporary. Demigods do not have independent power to fulfill desires. Demigods' power comes from Krishna. We should always glorify Krishna. But if somebody is worshipping demigods, then should glorify the demigod instead of worshipping demigods for fun or for temporary benedictions. Best way to glorify demigod is by glorifying demigod as devotee of Krishna. Demigod worship is like a business contract, and attaining heaven is like going to a resort, that once your money is finished, meaning once your karmic credit is finished, then you have to come down just as you leave the resort. For steady devotional service, one should be free from sin and do pious activity and be in mode of goodness more and more. Then these terms Brahmavadi, Shunyavadi, Advaitavadi, and Mayavadi are relevant to discuss here. Brahmavadi are not fortunate enough to associate with devotees, hence they are attracted to the impersonal Brahman effulgence. Shunyavad is that one tries to end all of existence in simple sense, that they try to empty their consciousness. Shunyavad is not a Vedic concept. Advaitavad is non-dualism, is a misunderstanding of the teachings, of the misunderstanding of the Vedic teachings. Advaitavadis think that absolute truth does not have qualities. Advaitavad is also known as Nirvisheshavad. This Nirvisheshavad is the term given by Vaishnava Acharyas to Advaitavadis, because Advaitavadis think that absolute truth does not have Vishesha, does not have qualities. Therefore, Nirvishesha, Nir means not and Vishesha means quality. And therefore, Advaitavad, which is, they think that non-dualism is the same as Nirvisheshavad, means no qualities, which is a misunderstanding. Mayavadis are offensive to God because they consider God's form to be illusion, and hence they think that this form is temporary and one has to transcend this form. Plus, Mayavadis think that Brahman effulgence is the highest. Hence, we have to merge with effulgence. So both these points, that to wanting to cross over Krishna and calling Brahman effulgence as the highest, are reasons for being offensive to the Lord. And about future. Future is not a pre-existing territory in which we enter. Rather, Krishna knows the future in the sense that Krishna knows our inclinations, plus Krishna knows all the permutation combinations and the results of all the permutation combinations of the options. Krishna's knowledge of the future is like our knowledge of the past. Our knowledge of the past is without any capability to change it. God can change future, but he chooses not to change because he respects the system he has created. Destiny is like a weather forecast that none of us can change. But you can choose your actions. Say if it is going to snow or it's going to be sunny, it is going to be snow and it is going to be sunny. So you can, if it is going to be snow, you can either put on a jacket and not get sick, or you can go out in snow without jacket and you will get sick. So you have to use your free will to determine your action. Situations that we encounter in our life are determined by our destiny. Actions we choose in those situations are up to us. Destiny does not choose our actions. That's a quick summary of chapter 7. Questions, comments, realizations? Nitya?
Hare Krishna Prabhu, are there any descriptions in our scriptures of any time when Lord has intervened and changed someone's destiny, like predetermined activity has been changed?
You asking if destiny has been changed?
Yes, if in any circumstances, because Lord chooses not to intervene because he believes in the system he created. But are there any examples where God has really changed?
Yeah, you can think of Parikshit Maharaj's example that when Ashwatthama released the Brahmastra to hurt Parikshit Maharaj in the womb, Srimad Bhagavatam describes that actually Parikshit Maharaj's body was burnt in the womb. And Krishna then within the womb gave Parikshit Maharaj another body. So you can consider that way that for a devotee Krishna intervened. Does that help you?
Yes, Prabhu, that's what I was asking with the example. Thank you.
All right. Abhishek Prabhu.
Prabhuji, when you say that Krishna's knowledge of future is like our knowledge of past, like how does that analogy, like I am not able to follow?
The analogy explains that we cannot change it, and similarly Krishna chooses not to change it even though Krishna has the ability to change the future. So Krishna is respecting the system he has created. So the example, you can take any example of the past. In our class we have discussed that India got independence on a particular date. That is a past event. Can you change it? No, we cannot change it. Yes, we have that knowledge, but we cannot change it. Similarly, Krishna's knowledge of the future is the same, that Krishna does not deliberately change it. If Krishna wants, he can, but he is respecting the system and therefore he does not change it, although Krishna knows the future as to what is going to happen based on our inclination, means our likely action. Abhishek Prabhu.
Yeah, thank you, Prabhuji. Prabhuji, one more question. The s- like like we say that Bhagavad Gita was spoken for our benefit, and definitely Lord Krishna wanted it to be spoken. So, like how should we see these incidents that are also under the, like, that is how people like devotees and non-devotees are naturally responding, which caused the Bhagavad Gita to be spoken?
Which incident are you referring to?
The incident that Krishna spoke Bhagavad Gita in Kurukshetra. So,
Yeah, so Krishna, so we have studied this in 3.24 that some actions of the Lord are to show his supremacy. So you cannot use Krishna's actions as for ordinary action. So Krishna's specific purpose of coming to the world was to remove the burden of the earth and to re-establish parampara. And therefore, Krishna created the circumstance to deliberately put his pure devotee Arjuna into bewilderment so that Bhagavad Gita can be delivered. So this is a unique action set up by the Lord so that Bhagavad Gita can come to us ordinary people. Abhishek Prabhu.
and then there can be other examples also which can fall in this category. Like maybe saving Parikshit Maharaj is also similar, unique example.
Yeah, so we are describing Srimad Bhagavatam exactly that. Parikshit Maharaj is also a unique example, and in the purport, Prabhupada says the same word. Just as Arjuna was a unique example to get Bhagavad Gita to the world, similarly, Parikshit Maharaj is a unique example to get Srimad Bhagavatam to the world. The purport says exact these two lines.
Thank you.
All right. Chapter number 8. I'll give a quick overview. Chapter number 8 is attaining the Supreme. In Sanskrit is Akshara Brahman Yoga. For a person, ordinary person or a devotee leaving the body should try to remember Krishna. Family members can assist for the person leaving the body or a devotee leaving the body by creating the environment that family members can chant, read Bhagavad Gita, Srimad Bhagavatam, lay Srila Prabhupada Japa, have pictures of Sri Radha Krishna in front of the materialistic person or the devotee about to leave the body, so that the person or the devotee has the opportunity to remember Krishna. Chapter 7 onwards, the spotlight is more on Krishna, and Krishna's position is supreme. Chapter 7 onwards, Krishna giving Arjuna an alternative way to fix the mind on Krishna. So it is not just renunciation of action, rather it is devotion in action. Chapter 7 ended with some new terms in verses 29 and 30. And Arjuna will inquire about these new terms in chapter 8, as well as Krishna will answer in chapter 8 itself. Chapter 8 is centered around Arjuna's question that how one can remember Krishna at the time of death. Chapter 8 is divided in 6 sections. Section 1 is verses 1 to 4. Arjuna's questions and Krishna's response to Arjuna's first 7 questions. Section 2 is verses 5 to 8. Remembrance of Krishna at death is the answer to Arjuna's 8th question. Section 3 is verses 9 to 13. Remembrance by Yoga Mishra Bhakti. Section 4 is verses 14 and 15. Remembrance by Shuddha Bhakti. Section 5 is verses 16 to 22. Remembrance of Supreme Lord by comparing natures of material and spiritual worlds. So we are attracted to material world. When we think of material world is a place of enjoyment for us. But when we understand that material world is not a place of enjoyment, then we turn to spiritual world. Section 6 is verses 23 to 28. Remembrance by Bhakti Yoga is easier than remembrance by Ashtanga Yoga. Essentially, chapter 8 talks about remembrance of Krishna at the time of death so that we can attain the absolute truth, Supreme Lord Sri Krishna. Therefore, chapter 8 is titled Attaining the Supreme, or in Sanskrit is Akshara Brahma Yoga. So Divya is going to present chapter 8. Divya has done spectacular of using technology to record the presentation because she could not attend. So let's hear from Divya and then I will present.
Hare Krishna, dear devotees, seeking permission from you all, Srila Prabhupada and all gurus in disciplic succession, Sri Radha and Krishna, to present my attempt at summarizing the chapter 8 of Bhagavad Gita. Please forgive me in advance for my mistakes and shortcomings. Chapter 8 of the Bhagavad Gita is titled Attaining the Supreme or Akshara Brahma Yoga in Sanskrit. Akshara means indestructible and Brahma refers to Brahman. This chapter is unique as it is the only chapter that talks about how to quit the body and attain Lord Krishna. The other 17 chapters of the Bhagavad Gita teach us how to live in this world as a soul and do devotional service. Death is inevitable and all of us will have to face the time when our soul leaves the body. We need to prepare ourselves well in this lifetime so we can attain the best possible result after our deaths. Our next destination will be determined by the last thing we remember when the soul leaves the body. Arjuna starts off this chapter with a series of questions and the Lord answers them as follows. What is Brahman? Brahman is the indestructible transcendental living entity. What is the self or Adhyatma? The eternal nature of the soul is called Adhyatma. What are fruitative activities? Karma. Karma is a system of action-reaction and it can be categorized as karma, akarma or vikarma. The Lord beautifully defines karma or fruitative activities as the action pertaining to the development of the material body of the living entities. What is material manifestation? Adibhutam. Adibhutam is this physical material manifestation which is constantly changing. This material energy of the Lord has the characteristics of constant change versus the Lord who is indestructible. What are demigods? Adi Daivam. The universal form of the Lord has all the demigods, the Virata Rupam, and it is Adi Daivam. There is no loka in the spiritual world where this form exists. The Lord's original Shyam Sundar form and all his other forms such as Lord Narasimha, Lord Ram, etc. are eternally present in the spiritual world in their own lokas. What is Adi Yagya? Lord Krishna receives all sacrifices as Adi Yagya. How does he live in the body? Lord Krishna lives in the body of every being as Paramatma and witnesses everything. How can one know the absolute truth at the time of death? Antakale cha mam eva smaran muktva kalevaram yaha prayati samadbhavam yati nasti atra samshayaha. The Lord says that whoever quits the body thinking of him attains him at once. The second line of the shlok says smaran muktva, which means to remember. It is not referring to simply chanting or speaking the name of the Lord without any feeling or emotion at the time of death. If we are thinking of Lord Krishna at the time of death, we have actually developed love for him. If Lord Krishna sees this, then he wants us to come back to him eagerly. Remembering a pure devotee at death, example a spiritual master or Srila Prabhupada, is the same as remembering Lord Krishna because the disciple treats the spiritual master at the same level of Lord Krishna, even though they are not on the same level. What we remember at the time of death is what form we will attain in the next birth. An example of this is Bharat Maharaj's story of how he took care of a deer in his sannyas life in the forest and got attached to it. He had to take his next birth as a deer and then a following one as Jada Bharat before he could continue his devotional practice and attain Lord Krishna. Bharat Maharaj was a highly elevated soul and was able to remember what happened in his previous lives, which helped him to remain detached to all material things. This example also teaches us that compassion and kindness are not the problem. Rather, developing a strong attachment to anything that is not Lord Krishna is what will hinder one's spiritual progress. It is very important to continue sadhana and remember Lord Krishna while remaining detached to all material things so that Krishna remembers you when you die. We want Krishna to remember us when we die because death is extremely painful. It is like having 1,000 scorpions biting you at once, and it is nearly impossible to think about anything in such extreme agony. Therefore, the Acharyas have said, do not worry about trying to remember Lord Krishna at the time of death. Rather, remember him throughout your life by doing devotional service so that Lord Krishna will remember you at the time of death. The Lord also does not tell us to stop doing all our prescribed duties, but instead He asks us to think of Him throughout all our activities. To accomplish this, doing sadhana is very important. Giving exclusive time for quality connection with Lord Krishna by chanting, studying, deity worship, devotee association, temple visits, occasional pilgrimages, we keep Lord Krishna consciously in the foreground, and then during our material activities, He will be in the background. Eventually, He will be in the front of our mind always. If sadhana is not done or not done properly, Lord Krishna will be completely absent from our life. Srila Prabhupada wanted us to do strong, faithful, and continuous sadhana or abhyas. The purpose of abhyas is for the mind and intelligence to be devoted to Lord Krishna in a steady and constant contemplation so that one will reach the Lord. In the rest of this chapter, the Lord shares some technical details related to the soul leaving the body. This is specifically for Ashtanga yogis and may also apply to people in Yoga Mishra Bhakti or mixed process where Bhakti is not dominant. He talks about meditation techniques to raise the prana so that the soul exits from higher parts of the body, Om chanting, shutting down the senses, fixing the mind on the Supreme without deviation, choosing the right day or time to pass on to higher planets, etc. The Lord's devotees are aware of these processes, but they never have to worry about it because for those engaged in Kevalam or Shuddh Bhakti Yoga, the Lord takes care of everything during their life and time of death. The Lord also explains that everything is temporary in the material world. Even if one attains a higher planet after his death, he is subject to misery, and any enjoyment there is only temporary as one has to return back to earth after they have finished enjoying themselves there. Furthermore, all living beings in the material world are helplessly annihilated at Brahma's night and appear again in the day. This happens again and again without any control. The only place which is eternal is the Lord's spiritual world, where when one reaches, they never return to the material world. The Lord states that the process of bhakti yoga, devotional service, is the easiest way to reach Him, as one always remembers Him without deviation. Otherwise, fixing the mind on the Lord without deviation is not easy. Lord Krishna motivates us in this chapter to not be scared of death and instead think of how to optimize our life in devotional service and have the best result after death. He also tells us to think of the results of doing this versus what happens if you let the mind get entangled with the material world. He advises us to constantly think of Him when carrying out our prescribed duties and not worry about karma. The purpose of human life is purifying our existence and to live in this world at the level of the soul. We can achieve this by growing our attachment to Lord Krishna and His devotional service. As our love for the Lord grows, we will automatically start to detach from material attachments. It is also unavoidable that Maya Devi will test our spiritual progress. However, when we are able to recognize that this is for our purification, we can pray to her to help us to become pure devotees. Association with other devotees will also help us revive our eternal relationship with the Lord and to understand when we are undergoing Maya Devi's tests and provide the moral and spiritual support to pass her tests. That concludes my presentation of chapter 8 of the Bhagavad Gita. Thank you for your attention and patience. Hare Krishna.
So, Archana, thank you for reminding me. We skipped reading the verses for chapter 8. So we'll now read chapter 8 verses, and then I will do the presentation for chapter 8. Then you can comment on Divya's presentation. So Vimal Prabhu will read chapter 8, section 1 is verses 1 to 4. It says Arjuna's questions and Krishna's response to first 7 questions. Vimal Prabhu, chapter 8, 1 to 4.
Evening.
Yeah.
Attaining the Supreme, verse 1. Arjuna inquired, O my Lord, O Supreme Person, what is Brahman? What is self? What are fruitive activities? What is material manifestation? And what are the demigods? Please explain this to me. Text 2. Who is the Lord of sacrifice? And how does he live in body? How Madhusudana, O Madhusudana? And how can those engaged in devotional service know you at the time of death? Text 3. The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, the indestructible, transcendental, living entity is called Brahman, and his eternal nature is called Advaita, the self. Action pertaining to the development of the material body of the living entity is called karma, or the fruitive activities. Text 4. O best of the embodied beings, the physical nature, which is constantly changing, is called Adhibhuta, the material manifestations. The universal form of the Lord, which include all the demigods, like those of the sun, the moon, is called Adhidiva. And I, the Supreme Lord, represented as the super soul in the heart of every embodied being, am called Adhijana, the Lord of sacrifice. Hare Krishna.
Very good. Ritu will read section 2, verses 5 to 8. Title is Remembrance of Krishna at Death is the answer to Arjuna's 8th question.
Hare Krishna. Text 5. And whoever at the end of his life quits his body, remembering me alone, at once attains my nature. Of this there is no doubt. Text 6. Whatever state of being one remembers when he quits his body, O son of Kunti, that state he will attain without fail. Text 7. Therefore, Arjuna, you should always think of me in the form of Krishna and at the same time carry out your prescribed duty of fighting. With your activities dedicated to me and your mind and intelligence fixed on me, you will attain me without doubt. Text 8. He who meditates on me as the Supreme Personality of Godhead, his mind constantly engaged in remembering me, undeviated from the path, he, O Parth, is sure to reach me. Hare Krishna.
Remya will read section 3, verses 9 to 13. Title is Remembrance by Yoga Mishra Bhakti.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dandavats. Text 9. One should meditate upon the Supreme Person as the one who knows everything, as he who is the oldest, who is the controller, who is the smaller than the smallest, who is the maintainer of everything, who is beyond all material conception, who is inconceivable, and who is always a person. He is luminous like the sun, and he is transcendental beyond this material nature. Text 10. One who, at the time of death, fixes his life air between the eyebrows and, by the strength of yoga, with an undeviating mind, engages himself in remembering the Supreme Lord in full devotion, will certainly attain to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Text 11. Persons who are learned in the Vedas, who utter Omkara, and who are great sages in the renounced order, enter into Brahman. Desiring such perfection, one practices celibacy. I shall now briefly explain to you this process by which one may attain salvation. Text 12. The yogic situation is that of detachment from all sensual engagements. Closing all the doors of the senses and fixing the mind on the heart and the life air at the top of the head, one establishes himself in yoga. Text 13. After being situated in this yoga practice and vibrating the sacred syllable Om, the supreme combination of letters, if one thinks of the Supreme Personality of Godhead and quits his body, he will certainly reach the spiritual planet.
Malti will read section 4, verses 14 and 15. Remembrance by Shuddha Bhakti.
Hare Krishna. Text 14. For one who always remembers me without deviation, I am easy to obtain, O son of Pritha, because of his constant engagement in devotional service. Text 15. After attaining me, the great souls who are yogis in devotion never return to this temporary world, which is full of miseries, because they have attained this highest perfection. Hare Krishna.
Mayank Prabhu will read section 5, verses 16 to 22. Title is Remembrance of Supreme Lord by comparing natures of material and spiritual worlds.
Hare Krishna. Verse 16. From the highest planet in the material world down to the lowest, all are places of misery wherein repeated birth and death take place. But one who attains to my abode, O son of Kunti, never takes birth again. By human calculation, 1,000 ages taken together form the duration of Brahma's one day, and such also is the duration of his night. At the beginning of Brahma's day, all living entities become manifest from the unmanifest state, and thereafter, when the night falls, they are merged into the unmanifest again. Again and again, when Brahma's day arrives, all living entities come into being, and with the arrival of Brahma's night, they are helplessly annihilated. Yet there is another unmanifest nature which is eternal and is transcendental to this manifested and unmanifested matter. It is supreme and is never annihilated. When all in this world is annihilated, that part remains as it is. That which the Vedantists describe as unmanifest and infallible, that which is known as the supreme destination, that place from which, having attained it, one never returns, that is my supreme abode. The Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is greater than all, is attainable by unalloyed devotion. Although he is present in his abode, he is all-pervading and everything is situated within him.
Dhara will read section 6, verses 23 to 28. Title is Remembrance by Bhakti Yoga is easier than remembrance by Ashtanga Yoga.
Hare Krishna. Text 23. O best of the Bharats, I shall now explain to you the different times at which, passing away from this world, the yogi does or does not come back. Text 24. Those who know the Supreme Brahman attain that Supreme by passing away from the world during the influence of the fiery god in the light at an auspicious moment of the day, during the fortnight of the waxing moon, or during the 6 months when the sun travels in the north. Text 25. The mystic who passes away from this world during the smoke, the night, the fortnight of the waning moon, or the 6 months when the sun passes to the south, reaches the moon planet, but again comes back. Text 26. According to the Vedic opinion, there are two ways of passing from this world, one in light and one in darkness. When one passes in light, he does not come back, but when one passes in darkness, he returns. Text 29. Although the devotees know these two paths, O Arjun, they are never bewildered. Therefore, be always fixed in devotion. Text 28. A person who accepts the path of devotional service is not bereft of the results derived from studying the Vedas, performing sacrifices, undergoing austerities, giving charity, or pursuing philosophical and fruitive activities. Simply by performing devotional service, he attains all these, and at the end, he reaches the supreme eternal abode. Thus, read. Thus end the Bhaktivedanta purports of the 8th chapter of the Srimad Bhagavad Gita in the matter of attaining the supreme.
Very good. Anybody has any questions, comments, realizations on Devya's chapter 8 presentation? So Divya has already done a spectacular presentation of chapter 8 that Narasimhadev was so eager that he wanted to hear it upfront, that therefore somehow he made me skip reading the verses. Although it's my mistake, I apologize. So let me quickly summarize, although will be almost a repeat of what Divya has already done. Spectacular presentation. So chapter 8 is titled Attaining the Supreme, Akshara Brahman Yoga. In chapter 6, which is titled Ashtanga Yoga, Arjuna said Ashtanga Yoga seems impractical. In chapter 7, Krishna briefly introduces Bhakti Yoga. In chapter 8, by comparison of Ashtanga Yoga and Bhakti Yoga paths, Krishna explains that Bhakti Yoga is easier way to fix the mind on Krishna, both at the time of death as well as during one's lifetime. The essence of chapter 8 is first to remember Krishna at the time of death to attain Krishna's nature. Second is remembering Krishna by Bhakti Yoga is easier as compared to Ashtanga Yoga. And third is serve Krishna and Krishna's devotees, chant Hare Krishna entire life so that Krishna remembers you at the time of your death. Bhagavad Gita, all chapters except chapter 8 show us how to live in the world as a soul. Chapter 8 shows us how to die when one has to die. Many have the misconception that to die in sleep is peaceful, but such death in sleep is in ignorance because person is not conscious of their thoughts. The default thought would be sense gratification, hence will take birth again, most likely in lower species. The proper way to die is to remember Krishna at the moment of death so that one attains Krishna's nature. Therefore, 8.5 is essentially the crux and the essence of chapter 8, which says, Antakale chamameva, smaran muktva kalevaram, ya prayati samad bhavam, ya iti nashti atra samshaya. It says, smaran muktva means remember Krishna to attain Krishna. Otherwise, you will attain whatever else you remember at the time of death. So, smaran muktva is the key, and the verse doesn't say kirtan muktva. Example that if somebody is tired of life, one cannot just put a gun to his own head and shout Krishna while shooting himself and expect to go back to Krishna. No, we cannot cheat Krishna like this. Therefore, it is smaran, remembrance. Even if somebody may say Krishna at the moment of death, but we won't be able to remember Krishna if we have not developed attachment to Krishna. And acharyas have explained that don't worry about trying to remember Krishna at the time of death because death is very difficult. It's like 1,000 scorpions biting at the same time. Rather, what you have to do is to remember and serve Krishna throughout your lifetime so that Krishna remembers you at the time of your death. How to remember Krishna in practice? Srila Prabhupada's instruction for all of us is Bhagavad Gita 8.7 verse. Although 8.7 is not a key memorization verse, one should live in this world according to 8.7. Therefore, I'll recite 8.7. Tasmat sarveshu kaleshu maam anusmaram yuddhacha maya arpita mano buddhir maam evasyashi asamshaya. That remember Krishna before doing any activity plus while doing any activity. This way, mind, intelligence, and fruits all get offered to Krishna. 8.7 verse is pre-action meditation and not post-action offering, which is described in 3.30. Krishna responds to Arjuna's various inquiries on the various terms. Brahman is indestructible, transcendental living entity, is Brahman. Adhyatma, the eternal nature or the spiritual nature of the soul, is called Adhyatma or self. The eternal nature of the soul is to serve Krishna. Karma. Krishna gives a spectacular one-line definition of karma, that action pertaining to development of material bodies of living entities is called karma or fruitive activities. That whatever we do in the current life, we are sowing seed for our next life. Adi Bhutam is physical material manifestation, is constantly changing. This is called Adi Bhutam. Adi Daivam, the universal form of the Lord, The Virat Roop, which includes all demigods, like those of sun and moon, is called Adideva. Krishna describes Ashtang Yogi has to leave the body at precise time so as to not return to the material world. In contrast, in Bhakti Yoga, all one has to do is to remember Krishna. Therefore, Bhakti Yoga is easier compared to other yoga paths. Devotees know the auspicious and inauspicious times of departures. But the devotees, these times do not matter because devotee is focused on doing Bhakti Yoga and Krishna takes care of the devotee. Krishna ensures the devotee reaches him. Therefore, all these astrological charts really have no value for devotee. In Srimad Bhagavatam, Prabhupada described that astrology is a correct science. But right now in the material world, there is no one qualified to read the astrological charts properly. Therefore, you will notice that one astrologer will say one thing and the other astrologer will say something else. There may be some overlap, but devotee don't have to worry about all these auspicious and inauspicious times and about astrology at all. Devotee simply has to focus on doing devotional service and Krishna takes care of the devotee. Krishna does a comparison of material and spiritual worlds to serve us as an impetus for fixing mind on Krishna because highest to lowest planets in all material worlds are places of misery and they are all temporary. Whether it be this earth or heaven or even Brahma's abode, Brahmaloka or hell, everything is temporary. All places in the material world are places of misery. And then Krishna explains the alternative option that Krishna's supreme abode is eternal. And this is attained only by pure devotional service. So this comparison that material world is a place of misery and spiritual world does not have misery becomes an impetus for us to try to remember Krishna and do devotional services throughout our life so that we may have a chance to remember Krishna at the time of death, or at least Krishna will help us remember Krishna at the time of death, as well as Krishna will remember us at the time of death. That's a quick summary of chapter 8. Questions, comments, realizations? Nitya?
Hare Krishna Prabhu, just a couple of questions, Prabhu. So in verse 26, the passing when one passes in light and one passes in darkness, this only applies to the yogi. This is not applying to the common man, especially those in animal life and karma kanda.
So you are correct that this applies to yogi. So what the yogi is trying to do here is that he's trying to perfect his yoga so that he times his departure perfectly, which is very difficult. And in one of the purport for 24, 25, 26, Prabhupada says that somebody may leave the body accidentally at an auspicious time. Well, that is an accident, right? We cannot rely on that. It's the Ashtang Yogi trying to time his departure at an auspicious time so that he does not return. But somebody may die accidentally at an auspicious time, but that is just an accident. Nitya?
Prabhu, that could be someone who even lives in the lowest caste, animal life, or have no spiritual consciousness, but still could be fortunate enough to pass at a auspicious moment.
Yeah, it is possible. Somebody can die at an auspicious time, no matter what the life form is.
Prabhu, one more question, Prabhu. With the what happens at the time of complete destruction to Brahmaloka? It states in two different places in the purport that Brahma and the devotees who are constantly engaged in Krishna consciousness, they're all transferred to the spiritual universe. And in another place it says that even Brahmaloka, even Brahma himself is subject to the process of
So your question is about full annihilation?
Yes, Prabhu, because not when Brahma's day ends, but when the complete annihilation at the end of Brahma's life.
During partial annihilation, Brahmaloka continues to exist and all residents of Brahmaloka continue to exist. It's only lower planets below Brahmaloka, they all get annihilated. So during full annihilation, this is described at great length in Srimad Bhagavatam. What happens upon full annihilation? So Brahmaji is a pure devotee. Brahmaji obviously attains spiritual world upon full annihilation. And the residents of Brahmaloka, means those who are following Brahmaji, there are two options. So somebody worshipping Brahmaji as the supreme, they do not attain spiritual world. They either become controlling demigods in the following creation, or they attain some administrative position somewhere in the universe in the next cycle. But other sets of devotees at Brahmaloka who worship Brahmaji as devotee of Krishna, recognizing that Krishna is supreme and Brahmaji is just a servant of the Supreme Lord. Such devotees who understand that Brahmaji is just a servant, they attain spiritual world together with Brahmaji. So I described at great length in Srimad Bhagavatam, should be in Canto 2. Yeah, Nitya?
Thank you, Prabhu. One more follow-up on the previous question, Prabhu. So, karma is an infinite loop. So, if a person lives with no spiritual consciousness in animal life but passes in a fortunate, auspicious time, how is he relieved of all of that, Prabhu? How does he end up with liberation?
Yeah, so it's not necessary that liberation may happen in that immediate next life. It's just that, okay, he got little auspiciousness, so he say some 8.4 million life forms are in sequence, and the highest is human form of life, and in human form of life they attain final liberation because spirituality is possible in human. So say in the sequence of 8.4 million life of the evolution cycle, one form ends their karma, they get the next animal form, the next animal form, the next form in the 8.4 million. If somebody lives in auspicious times, they may skip some of these animal forms and they may jump to human. There is only Krishna who knows all of this. I can only give you an approximate answer that yes, somebody left their body at an auspicious time by accident. They will get some auspicious result. Does not necessarily mean that they will end up getting liberation. Now, the other scenario is, for example, Kurukshetra war. Say the animals that were used in the Kurukshetra war, like horses and elephants, that died in front of Krishna, well, they will attain spiritual world because they died in front of Krishna. That's a unique situation. So it's not a black and white answer. You have to understand that there are other factors that also play. Yes, it's an auspicious time, so you will get some auspiciousness from that. Can be liberation, may not be liberation, can be next life as a human form in devotee. There are so many permutation combinations that a soul goes through. I've explained that when the soul leaves the body, there are so many dimensions. The chart has so many dimensions, and we only know very few of those dimensions. So I can only give you an approximate answer, but not an exact answer, if that helps you, Nitya.
Thank you, Prabhu. I know it's a complex question. Thank you so much. Prabhu, quickly one more. I'm so sorry to ask so many questions. This is like pertaining to someone who has spent the entire life in this material consciousness with no spirituality or not much of a thing to spirituality. Can we help this person if we are living far away from them just by prayer? Because we are not there to give them prasadam or to, on a daily basis, do something to help them. This prayer would be all we can do for them.
You can do the prayer, and I've given an example that recently a family member, my family member, had left the body. So I was physically far away, that I'm in a different country. So my family in India, they were allowed to go to see the family member in the ICU, say twice a day. So they will put the phone on, and on the phone, I would read Bhagavad Gita, the chapter a day, and I will chant and I will play Prabhupada Japa, or my family members also had Prabhupada Japa, so they will play Prabhupada Japa, or say when they are going at a different time than when I'm not available. So yeah, I'm like very far away physically, but you can do the chanting, you can do the worship by yourself in your memory, while you are doing japa, you can focus that this japa is for the deliverance of so and so person. That also works, Nitya.
Thank you, Prabhu.
All right, so next week we have Nitya and Ramya scheduled. So Nitya for chapter 9 and Ramya for chapter 10. And everybody should prepare. I'm hoping this exercise is helping everybody. Is this exercise helping you refresh Bhagavad Gita?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Yes, Prabhuji.
Yes, Prabhu.
Yes, Prabhu.
Ramya?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Thank you so much. Definitely, this exercise is really helpful to revive all the memories and, revise everything. I apologize in advance that I'll only be sending a recording because next Sunday we are having ISKCON Niagara's Rath Yatra for
That's
kids.
okay. Yeah, you can record. That's okay.
And I also wanted to invite everyone in this class, if possible, to come over to our ISKCON Rath Yatra for kids, which is in the evening. Services start in the morning itself, but it's a thing for the kids to join.
So so this is Rath Yatra at Niagara Falls?
Yes, it will be in Fireman's Park at Niagara Falls. Bhakti Marga Swami will also be coming.
Yeah. So Rath Yatra is happening all over the world, and during this week, next week, there are many Rath Yatras around in Toronto area. Like couple happened last week, and few more are happening next week. And the one after every week, there is a Rath Yatra someplace or other. All right. We are just about at 9 o'clock here in Toronto time. Are we all okay to stop here?
Thank you, Prabhuji. So kind.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Thank you,
Thank you.
Prabhu.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.